Well, hello.
Hi.
We are BK Book Club. I'm Brad.
And I'm Kelsey.
And this week we are going to be going over chapters 19 through 30 of A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yeah, and this is Cody.
This is Cody. He will be making a special guest appearance throughout the entirety of the episode, so be prepared for that. Also, I apologize in advance for the whining. It's inevitable.
I whine a lot, so it's okay.
She's in good company. You may be wondering, what's this bowl I'm holding? Well, I made a caprese-style pasta with fresh basil, some chicken, fresh tomatoes, and some pesto sauce.
Yum, yum, yum.
It's a hot day here in Oregon, so we figured something a little quick, light, easy.
Next days. I'm ready for fall. My birthday's August 21st, and then we have Labor Day, and then like that Tuesday. So Tuesday, I'm like, it needs to be 65 degrees. What is going on?
I know that we both have discussed about being very mindful about holding microphones, but unfortunately this shirt does not allow me to put it anywhere that's sufficient. So we will make do. Just a real quick recap of chapters 7 through 18, which was last week's episode. We got to talk about Lucian's backstory, Feyre and Tamlin's relationship status, whatever it may be. It had just started to bud and flourish.
Had just started to even be a friendship.
Yeah.
Any trust.
There was a miocasm of trust, just a little modicum of it. I think I made that word up, so don't worry about it. It's fine.
My stepmom, she loves English and all that, so she always is using words, and I'm like, Andy, I don't know what that word means.
Normal English for the rest of us, please.
Yeah, I was a math science girl, not an English writing girl.
Yeah, that's not the vibe. So other than that, we also got introduced to the brutality of the Prythian realm, where that fairy was dropped off at the border and got his wings ripped out.
I cried. Oops, sorry.
It's okay.
I hit it, so it might go.
We started to find out more about the curse, and we started to hear more about the blight.
Well, the blight and the curse, is it one and the same?
I don't know. They don't really specify. Like, the blight is affecting the barrier between the worlds.
Yeah.
And but the curse is only affecting the people in Tamlin's court, in the spring court. So it's hard to tell. If you have any thoughts on it, please feel free to share. But other than that, before we go ahead and jump into eating and meeting you in 5 minutes, Kelsey, how was your week last week?
It was good. Still just like winding down from Kaylee's visit. Still did so much this weekend because every year for Labor Day, my family goes to the Deschutes River and goes rafting and camping. So we did that, and still just, one of these weekends, I will have a free weekend.
Where
Not
you can
soon.
Just relax.
Not soon, but
and eventually.
I actually think, besides watching Darwin, so in like 2 weeks, is that when you guys go to the game?
Yeah.
Besides that, I have a pretty free week, which like that isn't weekend as of now. We'll see with the job.
Last weekend was the start of my long season. So last weekend I went to the coast with a group of friends, which was great. Had a great time. Went home and got to spend the night at my house on Monday.
Yeah.
And then I am now, as you can see, this is not Kelsey's place, and this is not Colin's place, and this is not my place.
You guys will see my place soon.
We are dog sitting with Cody here in a different part of town, and we'll be at Cullen's next week.
No, we're gonna be at my house.
I'm gonna go to your house, but I'm at Cullen's. So I'm at this house. I'm at this house until Sunday. Then I go to a brunch with you on Sunday, and then I go to Cullen's, and I'm there until Friday. And then I don't even know. I think I have a couple of days off, and then I'm back to watching Cullen on Monday.
Have I told you about Soul Sea, my parents' concert they do every year?
Nope.
I feel like I've definitely mentioned it.
I think you did when we were at your parents' house.
Yeah, that's the 14th if you want to come. You don't have to.
The 14th is a Saturday. Possibly.
So
we'll just add one more day to my list.
Deets.
Which is not a big deal. I don't mind being busy. I just also really enjoy being home. But at the same time, like, this is nice too. I don't mind this.
Yeah. Easy stuff like this.
Easy stuff like this. Especially where I can bring my own things and do my own setup. But
sorry.
Okay. Right now, we're going to take a break. Be sure to check us out in a couple of minutes. And then we're going to have wine and talk about chapters 19 through 30.
Yeah.
See you soon. And we're back. BK Book Club is about to begin.
Yeah, we had a yummy pasta. So good.
Do you know what wine we're drinking? You're the one who bought it.
It's Chateau Saint Michel, I believe. Yeah, something like that. And it's their Chardonnay.
It's a delicious Chardonnay too. It's not too buttery and it's not too. It's sweet, but it's not too sweet.
I'm like 90% sure it's the Chateau Saint Michel.
Nice. So we're going to do things a little bit differently this time.
Oh.
As we just continue to do, because we're evolving, we're learning, we're growing, we're creating space. So instead of using ChatGPT to come up with the questions, because I'm finding that it does not do a really good job at recapping the previous episode, and it causes me to talk about things that happened.
That's fair. Yeah.
So I wanted to just write it myself. I happened to be editing our last episode today, and I ended up just writing down some notes. So if it sounds like we're jumping all over the place,
we are.
We are. The first thing that I wanted to talk about was during our last episode, we talked about the parallels between Twilight and other fantasy novels, like Beauty and the Beast as well, that this has a lot going into it. Personally, reading these chapters, I was like, is her name Bella? Because if you remember in the first book, and actually more in the second book,
I didn't read the Twilight books.
If you saw the movies, though, you know what I'm talking about. He sends her away.
Yeah.
To protect her. And I was when that happened.
I feel there's something we're missing because Lucian was all like, "You're smarter than this." And blah, blah, blah,
so something that I was thinking about to tie into that though, because I realized I have to change what I said. I was very adamant this last episode. I don't know if you want to keep your phone plugged in.
No, it's fine.
In the last episode, I was very, very adamant that if she was not going to go back to see her family. In the first episode, I was like, oh, she's going to escape. She's going to get back there. She's going to see them. The second episode, I had said, she's not going to go physically see them. It's going to be some kind of like the mirror in Beauty and the Beast.
I knew that she was going to physically, in my heart, I knew, but like I didn't think it was going to be I thought he was going to be like, you miss your family, you want to go see them, like out of the kindness of his heart.
So I thought it was also interesting that I have to backtrack. Like, fuck, I said it. I'm trying to tell myself to stop saying interesting because I say it a lot.
I feel like it's fine.
I don't, but it's just, I don't say it in day-to-day life. So it's like unnecessary. But.
Do you not say it in day-to-day life?
Not as often as I have said it in these episodes. When looking back on what I've said, I did say that her dad was going to be dead, which was not true.
Yeah.
Turns out not to be the case, which is interesting. Which is nice to see how that transition happened with. Originally, we were talking about was it going to be like a dowry that they were getting monthly installments on, and it comes to turn out that actually he just had someone come up and do an investment with the father, and the father actually made good on it, and somehow the ships came back.
The ships came back, which really he just means. Here it is.
But I was right about Nesta being kind of she kind of took over the role of the matriarch in the house. And I also...
But I don't know if that's necessarily true.
But it's because she didn't get the glamour.
Yeah.
So she knew something was afoot the entire time.
She's
which
like,
crazy.
Girl.
So going back to what you were saying, though, about her having some bigger piece in this and that she's specific, because during the last episode you were talking about the reason that she's around is because it had to be her.
Yeah.
I think they have high fae blood in them.
Oh.
And I think that they're like, she specifically could be like a half-breed.
Yeah.
Which is why she started having the visions.
Or maybe her mom isn't her mom, or her parents
exactly.
Or something like that.
And so I'm thinking, because when Rysand, I think is how you say his name.
I've been saying Rysand.
Rysand. If anyone wants to give us some enunciation lessons, we'd be happy to take them. Because we also still don't know if we're saying any of the other characters' names correctly. So, except for Tamlin, that one's kind of straightforward.
Yeah. And I've been told by my girlfriends that Feyre is also we know Feyre because
it is enunciated.
Yeah. No, it was definitely when they realized, and I feel like this might bring her and Nesta closer, so maybe she won't be such a
Well, they started painting together.
Yeah. See
which
you
is
next
cool.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it was even just cute that she went to like
She went to look for
save
her.
and tried to save her. I
Out
was
of
like,
all of the family members. And
Nesta!
she did say that one part. She had that one line where she was like, I knew I couldn't take care of us the way that you did.
Yeah,
And I was like,
and I hated you for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, you probably could have, but if you just like tried.
but also the fact that she didn't marry the guy, which we
Yeah.
both said was not going to happen.
Well, yeah.
Um,
Thankfully. And now look, you have all your money back and you probably wouldn't want to marry him anyways.
right.
I was a little bit nervous when Pharaoh was like walking and saw him and he gave her like a look. I was a little worried that he was going to like come after her. But
Well, the guy that she had been hooking up with was married, but was
Isaac,
what's his
yeah.
face
No.
married? No.
And
Oh,
I'm
he was like with some
interested-
cronies or something,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
I'm interested too because like obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, these are just my predictions. The ball is coming up. So I feel like I think Ryzen is going to show up to the ball.
Or something.
Something's
going to
show
show
up. So I'm
up.
wondering if like Tamlin has people placed as
To
like
protect her,
watching. Like
yeah.
even before she came back, if he had people like placed to watch her family.
Yeah.
And like how long?
Well, probably because he said that they were so well taken care of.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he still had spies in the area.
Also, I was watching Fantastic Beasts.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the first two again, like boom, boom. And I've changed my mind about how he looks in his thing. Do you remember, what was it? The Zawu? It's like one of the, I actually pulled it up so you could see a picture because now that's what I'm picturing. Did I pull it up? Oh yeah. See, now I'm picturing this when he's in his little.
Oh, that's what you think he looks like when he's in his beast form?
Yeah.
Okay. She's talking about the creature in the second movie that jumps.
It's a Zawu. And
like
he,
time jumps or interdimensionally jumps.
No.
Yes, because he jumps. That's how he gets out of them. Yeah.
I don't know if he time jumps. I think
No,
he
but
just like
he
can, like,
apparates basically.
Yeah, I was just about to say it's like an apparition, but yeah.
So let's talk about the Callan May, the like solstice thing that they did.
The Fire Fest?
Yeah. First of all, if anyone has read or seen True Blood, the first thing that popped into my head was the Maenad, which basically the same thing. They ended up having this big fest in Sookie's yard.
But it's not really technically a fuck fest. It's just like him.
Well, it's just him, but then everyone else gets to dally around afterwards.
But I love that Lucy was like, what the are you doing here? You need to get back. She's like lollygagging around and makes eye contact and was like,
uh-oh.
My bad.
And the thing that's funny too is like so far, so we've gotten through chapters 19 and 30, and this is supposed to be a smut book.
But I've been told but I have been told that like this book, it's not until the end, and then like it gets more in the other books, because even when they had their sex scene in this, I was like, that was it. Usually there's like some throbbing, right? And like, some manhood.
Like depictions, like we get
manhood is in my hot center.
Yeah, something along like I'm pulsating with joy and envy.
It's just kind of like, oh, we're kissing, and we just had sex, and
we made love, and then we woke up in the morning and did it again.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
I was like, oh,
I'm very underwhelmed.
Wow, this was a lot of lead up for not a lot of
read like mysteries with more steam.
I read like books when I was a teenager with more steam.
Oh my god, I'm just thinking of like this Christopher Wright, one of his first books called Density of Souls. There's like a conversation about a character giving head to another character, and that had a whole lot more depiction than this so far. But again, I'm giving it its due diligence.
Yeah.
It'll happen when it happens. The follow-up question. Oh, so what did you think about the Fire Fest? Like, what were your thoughts about it?
I mean, I feel like if they were like that adamant, I probably would have just stayed in the castle.
I would not. So after,
like, if they were really warning me, like, bro, don't go.
Don't go. And
like,
after like that creature that she saw, that like the one that looked like her father that was trying to lure her into the woods.
Yes.
Like, why would you go outside? The Pusa or something like that. But why would you go outside at night after that? I'm gonna try and
Idiot.
get this from him.
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think I can.
Oh.
fast.
And
Sorry
then
if I
when
scratched
it's
you.
okay. And then when he like saw her and was like, I smelled you. And
I
I was
looking for you everywhere. And that's when I was like,
she didn't want me to be I was like,
I'm like, this is when it's starting to get good. And then it was just he bit her neck.
And then as soon as she moaned, he was like, see ya.
Yeah.
Which I get, maybe he didn't want
Talk
their
about
first
edging.
time to be like while he was under whatever.
She was damp. No, I'm just kidding. Just the basement was flooded.
Yeah.
At least mine was.
Uh,
No, but I thought it was interesting the way that they were describing it.
It's okay.
I'm just gonna say it.
It's fine.
I'm trying not to say it because
Things
I don't.
are interesting.
I thought it was fascinating.
There you go.
Because it reminded me so much of like the pagan May festival, like the May Day festivals and stuff like that, and the like fertility, and because they're perpetuating spring. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be, right? So it was interesting to see the like intersections of those different beliefs. And like, if you know what Maenads are, they are basically creatures of fertility, but kind of on the extreme side, and they were very close with Dionysus. So it's that very like Roman/Greek god system where talking about fertility and perpetuating growth and all that stuff. So I just thought it's like they're like I don't want to say the fairies, but excuse me, they are the creatures of abundance. So like lots of wine, lots of parties.
Well, Dionysus is all about
exactly
wine.
That's why they're
partying.
That's why they're so close together.
And that's what the Olympics was
originally founded for.
And referencing, not the Last Supper. Just let everyone put that in their head.
Everyone being in a kerfuffle over the Last Supper drag queen thing. It wasn't. It was the Festival of Dionysus.
Do people realize that like Jesus didn't actually, that's not actually a picture of Jesus and his disciples, whether you believe in Jesus or not? That wasn't.
We're just going to leave that where it is.
Like, you're right, because
it's just going to start a thing, and we don't need a thing.
On a tangent.
Yeah.
We love drag queens here. Also,
we do. Protect all drag queens.
To let you guys all know.
These chapters are building up to something huge. What do you think it is?
Well, we finally got her name.
Fine, I know.
How are you saying that?
Amarantha?
Amarantha? Okay, that's... Yeah. I've been saying it so many different ways. For the longest time, I kept saying Armantha, and then I realized that it's not A-R. I was like...
I did. I had to spell it out so I could make sure I tried to say it correctly, because I'm like, I also did that with Rysand or Rysand, however you say his name.
Yeah.
It's interesting to think that they are in cahoots together, and he is the High Lord of the Night Court.
Or just a High
I'm pretty
Lord.
sure. No, I'm pretty sure he said the Night Court.
He might reside in the Night Court, but he might not. Or he's like associate. We don't know.
We don't know for sure. But it sounds like she's there as well. Like they're both in the Night Court.
And just from like obviously being on TikTok, you've heard some of these characters' names, and I feel like I've heard Rysand's name or like seen Rysand's name. So I'm wondering if not in this book. And
she hooks up with him.
I don't think it's her. Ooh. I think it'll be somebody else, maybe.
Ooh.
Because I feel like I've heard Nesta's name, but I also don't know if that's just from being like her sister and all of that. It's just interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Where
are we going? Like under the mountain was a thing. And wasn't there a picture of a mountain on that mural that she was looking at? Probably. That didn't have a name or anything on it, and it just was this ominous peak that was sitting in the middle of...
At first I thought that Tamlin's dad was like maybe the one that went against whatever they wanted, but
Come to find out.
Yeah, I was like, hello, JK, he seems like maybe a bad guy.
Yeah, not the best friend in the world.
That's what I at first thought when he's like, I can't do it because of what my like dad
the way that my dad was,
blah, 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 blah. And so... We love Tamlin, though. And I also love that when they did have their love making, it also wasn't the night of the summer solstice when she was, like, super drunk. I was like, okay, at least we're not taking
He didn't take advantage of her, But isn't that the night that she kissed him? Like, because she grew up, had the courage to do it? Because they were dancing.
Yeah.
And then they were dancing in the... No, they didn't kiss. They were dancing in the Will-o'-the-Wisp, though. Which, that sounds marvelous.
Yeah. The thing that says the most marvelous was still swimming in the starlight.
I mean, I just wouldn't mind living there and just yeah, that's gonna be a thing. And you were worried about sweat.
Yeah, well.
That's
okay, I
why.
can't have that anymore because I was
Yeah.
fully in your mouth, my dude.
Bring one of your Pokeballs.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna grab
Anywho,
it. Yeah.
I don't know what. I mean, obviously there will be like some sort of war. I'm guessing what.
Do you think it's gonna be a war? Or do you like this is where it gets
I think
tricky.
Amarantha is how we're saying it.
Yeah.
I think she's trying to get Tamlin on her side because I do think he is like super powerful. But I don't know what the side is, what they're trying to do. But when he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna tell her that you reconsidered
Well, I also there was
her
something
offer because now he has
like you ran out of
leverage."
time or you didn't have enough time with her or something. And I didn't know if they were talking specifically about Amarantha or if he was talking about with
Oh, when he
Feyre.
was like, "Oh, she would have been the one," but
Yeah.
yeah. I think, like I said, I think that she was destined to be like his partner because he
Yeah.
also, when he was like, "Oh,
Which
what
is
do you
also
think
why
I
I'm
look
thinking that they
like?"
might be
Yeah, when he was like, "Oh, what do you think I look like?" Because she was trying to take the mask off. I think that's also when she was like either
Mhm.
drunk or when she had
I don't think that was
when
when
he kissed her eyes and
that
made her
yeah.
see everything.
Yeah.
And she described, and he's like, "You're exactly what I dreamed of too." So like I think he's had dreams about her before she even came in,
Yeah.
and maybe that's why. But yeah, I think she's the key to something,
Yeah.
and so I don't know.
But we're getting to the end of the book and I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Because we can finally start putting some major pieces together. And then it's on to the next book, which did you request it at the library, by the
Yes,
way? Okay, good.
I have.
But I'm excited to see what's coming around the bend because I too I don't know if it's so much a war. I don't know if it's so much a war that's coming up.
I don't know if it will be in this book. There will be a war, but we have to remember it's a whole series. And
True.
with how they're talking, there has to be.
I mean, there's going to be a giant conflict. I totally see that.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering, and I still stand behind the idea that even if Feyre doesn't have any
Fey blood.
Fey blood in her, she's going to become Fey somehow.
Yeah.
Especially if Tamlin has the power to give her sight. I can't imagine him not being able to be like.
kind of when he was like, "Oh, I need a kiss for that." I did think like he was gonna have to like kiss both eyes, kiss both ears, kiss the nose, kiss her mouth to like
give the power
give
all around.
this senses. I don't know. I think the big conflict in this book, because we're almost done with it, is she's going to get kidnapped and he's gonna have to like save her. And
that's what I'm thinking is going to happen at the ball. Something's going to happen at the ball.
100%. Something's
going to happen at the ball. And he's going to have to come in and swoop in and save her. Everyone's going to find out that
he'll show up to the ball
as the protector.
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? But at the same time, I don't know if he would put her at risk like that because he thinks
but I don't know if if she'd be at risk if he's with her.
Well, he's not as powerful outside of his court, right?
Oh, yeah. Because the surreal did say stick with him.
Stick with him.
And I feel like I'd be like this. But who actually, there's a lot of things when the Fire Fest went on. No, this was way before all of that. I think this was still I should have talked about it last episode. But there was a time when he was like, "Oh, you're not going to be a bother." And then the next day he was like, "Do you want me to give you a tour?" I literally, and I know this is truly, I would have done this. She's
nosy enough for this.
It's not nosy, it's sassy. I would have been like, "Oh, no, it's okay, because I don't want to be a bother to you." You can't say that, "Oh, you're not going to be that much of a bother or inconvenient or whatever it was," and then offer to do something nice, because I will be an asshole.
Passive aggressive much?
Sorry, I don't want to be too much of a bother.
Well, she does do that a couple of times when she's like...
She does it in her head. She's like, "Oh, no, thank you."
But I feel like she said something at one point, though. She did say it, like verbally say it at one point.
I feel like she mostly gives shit to Lucian.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's also
except
because...
for the neck biting and like kisses. She just is very open with that. She's like, "I'm not hiding that at all."
Yeah.
Here we are.
And she's like, "He was such a brute." And I'm like, "Girl, you were like in it. You were spread-legged, like, take me now, Lord."
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Consent's very important. but your body language. No, I'm not even gonna go down that road.
They definitely did kiss the night of summer solstice because
Yeah.
at dinner the next time, when Lucian was like, "I heard you guys didn't come till dawn," and Tamlin kind of gave a look, and she's like, "I was able to face you after you bit my neck. A few kisses mean nothing."
They had to have kissed, and I think that they kissed while they were in the Will o' the Wisp.
They did. They did. Yeah.
Because then they stayed and watched the sunrise. No, it's tricky in books like this because I do start thinking about like consent and all that stuff, right? And like, where's that line there with the whole neck biting thing? Like,
yeah.
Her
because
internal.
Let me tell you, in real life, if some guy just came up and was like, "I smell you," and couldn't find you, I would be like, "The fuck?" Sorry, excuse my language. But we have the adult thing on there. Like, I literally, and then he just bit my neck. I'd literally be like, "I'm calling the cops."
I'm calling the police. But I like it's like her internal monologue though. She does say she's like, a part of me wanted it, and I'm like. Yeah. And this is where it gets tricky with books like these because I'm like, are we perpetuating a stigma of any kind?
I think it's like if you think about life, there's boys that you know that you shouldn't be kissing or shouldn't be doing anything with, but you're still giving all the signals because you're like, I know I shouldn't be doing
red flag,
this.
Red flag, red flag, red flag. You know,
you've never kissed a boy that you.
It's interesting that we're having this conversation because I just recently watched an interview that oh my god, I'm trying to think of the song at the same time that I'm doing this. I watched an interview with Halsey, and she was talking about the line from her song Graveyard, where it's like, isn't it interesting that the butterflies turn into warning signs? And she was talking about how she had a conversation with her mother where if you feel butterflies, that's a red flag because you shouldn't feel butterflies because that's your natural instinct telling you that they're probably not good for you.
I haven't had butterflies in so long, I don't even know what that is.
I wouldn't be able to tell what they are. Like, what, is this a butterfly?
I'd be like, ooh, I think I need to poop.
Am I going to start my period?
I need to go to the hospital. Yeah, actually, I'm dying.
There's something gastro happening and I need to get it checked. Back to the book. Oh, we talked about that. I didn't have a ton of questions for this, but...
I mean, we can just talk about other things.
Yeah, I mean... So, I mean, before we even do that, we can... before we continue... So, here's what we'll do then. Since we've basically covered all of chapters 19 through 30, which I feel like kind of flew by for me.
Yeah, maybe I'll start writing questions too.
Yeah, if just anything you want to talk about. Yeah. It's, to me, I feel like these chapters flew by. I do feel like there's going to be a really big, like, I feel like the conflict is going to start at the ball. Yeah. Which is in 2 days' time, I guess, in accordance to the book, or 1 day time.
No, it was like, I think 31 is the day of the ball.
Well, they could have ended it like the ball's in 2 days and then...
Oh, I thought it was, I don't know. Who knows?
I don't think it's in chronological order it's not the 31st day of the month in that, so.
I just meant that I think that the chapter ended with the ball being the next day.
Possibly. I can't remember exactly that part, but I think that that's going to be a big, like the precipice for the conflict is going to start there. Like we already had a little bit of hint of it. So the other reason that I think that Rysand is from the Night Court is because, first of all, like...
Well, he definitely has something to do with the Night Court.
Because she's like, he looked like night walking. Yeah. And I think that I loved that end of that chapter where she's like, I looked up at the most devastatingly handsome man I've ever seen in my life and instantly knew he was a threat. And I'm like, those are them butterflies.
Well, and I find it interesting that she like didn't, at least that we know of, didn't be like, oh yeah, I talked to him the night of the fire thing. Yeah. Because I am a blabber.
No.
I'd instantly, after he left, be like, look, I know you're trying to push me away, but can I just say I
ran into him.
Talked to him just to get this all out there so you don't find out later.
Yeah, I'm a big, like, I don't want to get in trouble later, so I'd rather talk about it now.
I just, I love to
I
yap.
done screwed up.
I love to yap.
I done screwed up. So let me tell you right now. I made
Actually,
a
I
whoopsie.
probably would have, like, the night of the fire thing when Lucian grabbed me, I would have been like, do you know this guy? I
Who
met
is
him. He was
that?
talking to me. He
And why
seemed
doesn't he have a
off.
mask?
Like, I would want to know everything because I'm nosy. So I'd be like, do you know what his name is? I ran into him and he kind of seemed weird. He wanted me to do this. He wanted me to blah, 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 blah.
Just
Also,
continuously going.
Yeah, I wonder why he was there.
Yeah. That's the one night that they're allowed to walk between all the realms.
I know, and I want to know their history because they obviously have a history.
They know each other.
Because they're talking like.
Well, I think it goes back to what you were saying about how Amarantha, whatever her name is, wants Tamlin.
Yeah, for something.
But now he gets her as like the second best choice. Like she chose him second.
Rysand?
Yeah.
I see. Yeah, I don't know. We can tell that they have a history.
I think they might have been in the army together too, because he made a reference to the fact that Tamlin used to be in the army.
Well, or they were like friends with kids. Because when I first read it and saw him, I Snapchatted my friend Mackenzie and was like, "There's another guy and he's handsome and blah 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 blah." And I'm like, I feel like I heard this name. I feel like though he might be bad too. And my guess, but now I don't think that because they do have such like different looks.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, is this one of Lucian's brothers that tried to kill him, and that's why there's so much tension? But I don't think that now.
No, because the way he was saying stuff, and not only that, but he was saying stuff like your poor mother will end up dying, or I'll go and kill them and all that stuff, or something like that.
I forgot. Yeah. No, it's all just interesting. I just want to know everything.
I know, we're so close. We get to finish it now.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's the last. Oh we're reading the rest of the book. It's chapter 31 to 42.
This so fast.
That's why I said make sure you got the book, or one more chapter and we're done. I mean, one more episode and we're done.
Yeah.
But I remember, so last episode we were talking about what we imagine these characters to look like, and I had mentioned Stuart Mackey or McKay, however we say his last name, the guy on Instagram. I happened to be surfing through Instagram today, and he did a photo shoot as Lucian. I was like,
see, and the thing that's funny
I was like, yeah, I see it.
Yeah. When this airs, it's going to be like 3 weeks.
Seriously, I know. Unfortunately, it's going to be like
we're ahead of time.
We're ahead. We have to be. It's production. I don't have the time to do this all in one sitting.
Yeah. But interesting. That's funny. What a good little production.
I know. And I want to go through my Instagram to see if I can find it again so I can share it with you.
Well, and like I've been seeing things, obviously, I think because we talk about it and our phones can hear us and do all of that, things have been like popping up and people are like, oh, this is what I imagine this person, and this is what I imagine. No, this is what I imagine. So
well, I would love for our viewers to have some input too. So if you have any ideas of what you think these people look like or anything like that, please add to the comments. I know we are a small but mighty team. We appreciate all of you though.
Yes, we do.
I think we have 13 people on our Facebook page. And I think like maybe 30 people on our Instagram. So you are here for the beginning, y'all.
Yeah, I had it with the TikTok, but I'm still working on that because the episodes are northern rhymes. So I don't really know.
You what?
We'll talk about it later. That's business stuff that you guys
don't need to know about that. So coming to the end of what's important for these sets of chapters, though, and the pertinent information towards this episode would be predictions. What are your predictions?
I guess
we kind of do that throughout the whole episode, but I don't know if maybe at the end we want to have like a.
I think that maybe Nesta's gonna like go back with her into Prythian because I think Elaine is doing really well and like she likes to.
And she's great with her dad.
Yeah, all of that. But I feel like now that Nesta knows and like the glamour didn't work on her.
Which is interesting, like, why didn't it work? And again, that's why I think that they have Fae blood in them.
Yeah. Because it can't just be that she's so stubborn.
Yeah, her mind is her own. And I'm like,
she just can't be
bothered.
But then I say that, but then you like think about it and like drugs, for instance, work so differently. Even like prescription drugs, like medication, I guess I should have said. medication works differently. Like people with ADHD or depression or whatever, they have different dosages.
Yeah.
Dosages.
No, you're right.
So
It's
maybe
how much
it
they
was
have to
just,
take in order to affect them
since her
properly.
mind is like she is so, because when they were talking in market and the
Children of the whatever.
Thank you for knowing. They like she was just like,
was it Children of the Sun or something like that?
I don't think it's Children of the something. It might be Sun, but I feel like that doesn't sound.
It doesn't sound too right.
Right.
Yeah, unless there's vampires.
I guess that wouldn't be Children of the Sun. They'd be Children of the Moon.
No, they would be Children of the Sun if they didn't like the vampires.
Oh, I thought you were talking about vampires. I was like, no, because most of them can't go on, or they sparkle, or you have to be Blade.
Or you have to be really, really old in Anne Rice time. You can go out in the sun in Anne Rice time, but you have to be like old.
Yeah.
And really close to the source. Like,
and if you're a Vampire Diaries vampire, you just have to have like a magic ring.
It's interesting. Like, I don't know if you've ever read any of them, but the Anne Rice stories, I think that they're really, I like the idea behind it is really cool. It comes from like Queen of the Damned. I'm not going to give it away, but it's like the way that it's passed down is just so interesting to me. Our next episode will be out next week. We are going to have the next episode will be our final thoughts on the book, the last couple of chapters for 31 through 42. We'll have our conclusion for the first installment of the Court series. Mm-hmm. I don't know what she's calling it specifically, but it's A Court of Thorn and Roses is the first one. The next one, I think
everyone's just calling it ACOTAR.
ACOTAR.
Yeah. I said it wrong one time, and my friends were like, "You can't say it; they'll be on you."
I feel like it's listed.
Is this one like a Court of? There's like mist or something.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna look at with the next
Court of Silver Mist.
No, I think the silver one is the last one. Oh. But it's interesting because this doesn't have all of the books, because I think that there's one.
Look, A Court of Mist and Fury. So I was close. Oh, yeah. Silver Flames.
Yeah. The Court of Thorns and Roses series is what it's called. But the next one that we're going to be reading is A Court of Mist and Fury.
Whoop, whoop. I also heard.
I feel like there's 6 books in total, but this one only shows 5.
Should we have a coloring book session?
We would just record us listening to music, coloring. If that's something that you're interested in, though, let us know. Yeah, and then we could always start going into any of her other series too.
At least a coloring book would give us what they look like.
Oh, ooh. Hopefully. But it would be like that artist's interpretation of it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I like my idea better.
Yeah. And then they come out with a movie and you're like,
yeah, exactly. Which is really difficult. So I've been reading the. We're done with A Court of Thorns and Roses for now until next episode. But we're just gonna chill and chitter chatter just to fill some space. I like to keep these episodes as close to an hour long as possible. Reading the Vampire Chronicles, which is like Queen of the Damned and all that stuff, having watched Interview with a Vampire that had Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt in it, and then now watching it on AMC, completely different interpretations of what Louis looks like, but Lestat always looks very, very similar, and it's because he's the Brat Prince. He's supposed to be in his late teens, very like provincial, very like from France.
Okay.
Also supposed to have like dashingly good looks, blonde hair, blue piercing eyes, all this stuff. So they keep that consistent.
If you look at my past record, you'd be like, "Oh, that's right, right up your alley." Except I did see something on social media that's like, "It's not your type, it's your pattern."
Ooh. Woof. Honestly, though, like I don't think I've ever dated my actual type.
Oh my
I've
God.
always dated my pattern, though.
In Colorado Springs, there's this one time where I did the day before Thanksgiving bar crawl, and a number of the men that I've slept with were
gentlemen
all gonna be there, and then I had forgotten that one was gonna come. And to one of my girlfriends, I was like, oh, actually, I lied. One more is coming. And I didn't even have to say who it was. He like walked in and she just looks at me and goes, is that him? I was like, how could you tell? And they all were like, 6'2" and above, dirty blonde hair, blue eyes, kind of gangly looking.
I feel like my quote unquote type changes. I don't think it's so much changes as I have like such a broad type.
I feel like right now I just like don't have a type because have still zero interest in dating.
I don't know if you want to talk yourself.
I mean, might as well.
For me, like I always like blending norms. Put it up here.
Was there another?
There you go.
I mean, it is the Chateau Saint Michel. You probably can't see that. But
You can always zoom in.
Chardonnay 2018.
Nice. So I always feel like I like to blend norms. Like I've been doing it since I was a kid. Like for the longest time. You're not supposed. Those are not for sale.
We've been showing our feet the whole time.
I know.
But it's also not for sale.
You gotta pay for YouTube Premium for that. I feel like when I was a kid, especially, like I loved the idea of going to both Abercrombie and Fitch and Hot Topic. Like, yeah, this is like the weirdness that I like. Like, I would wear Abercrombie jeans, a button-up shirt, and a fishnet shirt underneath it. And like that, I loved that vibe.
Not that way.
And then like at 18, I had like my nipples pierced too. So like I would I
wouldn't even say I'm like edgy now.
No, not at all.
I'm more like I was very much a little preppy girl. I mean, I was a cheerleader in high school.
But like my type, I think that a guy that is very clean cut and well built, but covered in tattoos, is like my speed.
Yeah, I don't even know anymore.
I know, but it always changes.
Yeah, I was like,
and if you look at my exes, none of them really fit that mold.
There's like people that I'm like, oh my gosh, you're so hot, and then they open their mouth, and I'm like,
yep.
And then there's people that I might not have first gone for, and then they open their mouth, and I'm like, oh,
exactly. It's
you're making me laugh
because I think
insane. What's up?
I think in all actuality, what it really comes down to is like, what do we enjoy the same things? Or like, what are the moral implications?
And my biggest thing is also like sense of humor.
Yeah,
if you can't make me laugh, or if you don't think I'm funny, I think I'm the funniest person in the whole entire world. So if you don't think I'm funny, yeah, I'm funny.
It's not even just being funny or thinking that I'm funny. You have to be able to keep up.
Yeah.
Like if you can't keep up with this sense of humor, yes, I'm not saying I'm bipolar, but
I just go from 100 to 0 real fast.
Quick. And sometimes 0 to 100 real quick.
No, it's definitely interesting.
But dating in 2024 is chaos. Whereas everyone's still coming out of a pandemic. Everyone's still trying to reevaluate how to get into the world. Like,
yeah.
Not only that, but I feel like the culture itself around dating has changed so vastly.
Well, and it's like I somehow think because I hate using the apps. I have them, but I'm usually just being like, no, and I'm like maybe, and then I read the profile and I'm like, no.
Yep.
And then I just like don't really leave. Like I leave my house, but it's like to go to friends' houses. It's not to like go out in the wild.
Yep.
So I don't know how I'm like, but I also like if I don't meet anyone, that's fine. I actually like thinking about being in a relationship
is taxing.
Kind of makes me want to throw up.
I think that what it is for me is I just get so sick and tired of telling my story over and over again. And I just like I'm spent on it right now.
I also know that sometimes telling my full story might make people, and then I've just told somebody my full trauma,
exposed yourself to somebody, and then they
just know all of this about me. I also just get annoyed with people really easily. So
I think for me,
I'm very picky.
one of the things that I've always tried to do is that whenever a relationship ends, I try to foster like a place of friendship, and that doesn't always work. Sometimes it doesn't work out that way, and it's unfortunate.
I was friends with one ex, and we
Mhm.
ended up getting back together, and I got my heart broken like real bad. So
No,
I
I
don't think I
don't.
need to be friends with any of my exes.
I've
There's
been.
like I would never. I don't have an issue with any of my exes. Yeah, I don't have an issue with any of them. Like even the one that I got my heart like totally shattered from. Looking back, I'm like, absolutely, we should not have been together because we
Yeah.
just saw a relationship in two different ways. Like I don't
Yeah.
have anything bad to say about him, but the way I saw what a relationship should be and how he saw what a relationship should be were two very different things. And like it was hard because he did make me laugh. He did, like there were so many.
He checked a lot of boxes.
He checked like two, and I just
She has a list of 4, so that's half of them.
No, I definitely am like, I think more guarded now than I was, but
Yeah.
I think it's just we dated, we broke up, we're still friends and very friendly with each other. And then people can get it. And then
Oh, I'm sure they can.
And then it was just
People can get it for free, I know. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what? Some people can.
Some people can. No, but I get what you're saying.
It's just sometimes you don't mesh up, and as much as you're like, yeah, you are a good person, you're just not my good person.
Yeah.
And like it took a while to get that because I just built up so much potential in my head, and
Yeah.
oh, look at this could be such like a happily ever after.
That's the
like
big
we were
thing is
meant to be.
The expectations that we create, and we all do this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The expectations that we create for other people, and then when they don't meet it, we get disappointed in it.
Well, and back then, I mean, we had gotten back together in 2019, so I was 25.
Hmm.
I think that's the correct math.
It's fine. We're really good at this, guys.
Yeah. But like that's still like my frontal lobe just developed. And so like who I am now would not have put up with a lot of the things that I put up, not even in just that relationship, just all
relationships
of my relationships or situationships. Like who I am now would have been like, the fuck did you just do or say to me? You can go ahead and turn around and never talk to me again. Wish I had this personality.
Right.
Back
well, this goes back to that conversation I was saying with, I wish this Brad existed when I was a teenager.
Oh my God. If this Kelsey existed when I was a teenager, I would have been a hoe.
I would have got paid for it.
Who knows where I would be in
Oh my
life.
God, if the technology today existed when I was a teenager, I would have had an OnlyFans 100%.
I don't know. I like look back because I was just like
I am no longer the figure I was at that age, which is fine. I filled into the person I am, and I'm comfortable with my body. I mean, there's a couple of things I'd want to change, but like nothing major. I'm not like, I don't need to go out and lose a shit ton of weight or anything like that. But like, I definitely would have stuck with, because I used to go to the gym really religiously, and I had like a decent figure. I wasn't jacked or built or anything like that, but I was definitely a twink. I would have kept that for as long as the money would have lasted.
Yeah.
And I would have paid, like, I would have had so much money saved.
I didn't have like, yeah. Are you talking about teenager, like high school?
No, I'm talking like 18 and over.
Okay.
Like I'm not talking about high school stuff, because I feel like that's a very blurred line.
Well, especially where you went to high school.
Yeah. But I think going back to what we were talking about in regards to relationships in our past, one of the things, and the reason I say I try and foster a room for friendship and I have no fear of like potentially getting back together with someone, is because I have been extremely diligent.
Well, and gay culture is
vastly
very
different
than like straight culture.
Yes and no. There are definitely a lot of caveats.
I feel like in the way of like, I do feel like you're more likely to be, or at least you personally are more likely to be.
I think that I am personally, because I've definitely I have met plenty of other gay men. One of my really good friends actually hates the idea of being friends with any of his exes.
Yeah.
But, excuse me, I personally believe that if you're going to invest that much time, especially if it's a relationship that's lasted over 6 months, Like, you're investing that much time into somebody.
I only had one relationship that lasted over 6 months.
I've definitely been lucky to say that most of my, like, if I decided to be a boyfriend to somebody, we were together for at least a year.
I mean, I've only...
That's not true. There was one relationship I was in when I was living in Florida that only lasted, I think, 6 months.
For, like, officially boyfriend, girlfriend, I've only had 3, like, actual boyfriend. 4 relationships because I dated one twice. And one of them, I'm like, I don't even count because I lived in Oregon and he lived in New Mexico.
But going back to what I was saying, though, is I have been so diligent about one and done. Like, whenever I've broken up with someone, like, if we break up, we're not getting back together.
My 3 boyfriends, one of them I wouldn't necessarily be friends with, just because I feel like our beliefs and morals are very different now, and like, you've grown a Texas boy. You've grown in a different direction than he has. He's a Texas boy, and I mean, I don't know for sure, but everything tells me that.
I just want to point something out real quick. When this video started, you noticed that he was very active and all over the place. The owners of Cody had warned me that after 8 o'clock, he basically shuts down. It is 8:27, and he has not moved from that spot for at least 10 minutes.
He did. I'm out.
He's still holding onto his toy, but he's very content. His eyes were just closed until she started petting him. But
so cute.
Like, my most recent breakup, I had wanted to maintain a friendship, and I don't want to talk too much about it because I don't want it to become a big thing. But I realized as time went on that it was not going to change into that. And I don't think it was either one of ours faults. I think we both just kind of grew apart from that, and maybe he does not feel the same way, but the problem that we had is that we didn't have a lot of open communication. So
communication was a big problem in my last one too.
Well, it's one of the, and I guess I can talk a little bit about it because I think that what I have to say isn't terrible. He's a great guy, and I honestly love him. Like, there's a lot that I still feel about him, and there are some times that I do think, like, just to reach out and see how he's doing. But I feel like a lot of the times I tried to foster a space of communication, open communication. It just wasn't happening.
Yeah.
Come to find out, like, I mean, I'm not going to say that the only reason that we broke up is because of communication. I know that there was some other issues like drinking on my part, which I will own. But I feel like I had made it known that I wanted to maintain a friendship, but it kind of felt like, from my perspective, and again, without open communication, I wouldn't know what his perspective is, but I kind of felt like I was the one continuously trying to reach out and open that line of communication.
But I mean, your breakup was still not.
It wasn't. No, we didn't. Well, we broke up in May. It's been 6 months.
Yeah, I guess.
And that was the thing. When we first broke up, we were still texting each other every day, and then it got to a point where we had a conversation like, should we stop? And I was like, honestly, I know that eventually this is going to fizzle out, and it did.
Yeah.
I still wish him well. If I see him out in public, I'm more than happy to say hi and hope he's doing well. 2
situationships, not even relationships, that I don't wish you well.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I think
you
there's
deserve every bad thing that comes to you.
I'm a firm believer in learning from every situation. I do think that some people need to learn a whole lot more than others. I know that I've got at least 2 exes and I'm just like, really don't care what you're up to.
I don't care really about what any of my exes are up to.
But they're like,
no offense.
They're almost like not core memories, but they are like core events in my life that I've learned the most about myself in them. And I think that for me is the reason that I'm good. Like, I don't believe in dating again. Like, if we broke up for a reason. Yes, people change, but I'm hoping that we've grown to people that can have that conversation to be like, we should just foster a really good, comfortable friendship here.
Yeah.
Like, one of my best friends is my ex-boyfriend. We only dated for a year, but we lived together for 7 years after that.
That's so weird still.
Different sides of the house.
Yeah.
And it worked for us. We still go on vacations together. Like, he's coming up in November.
I was like, he's coming here.
I love him. He is one of my best friends. And it's because you foster this place of, like, it's one of those situations where you realize that the friendship is so much more important.
And I think that's my issue is like looking back, I don't really care to have like there's a one ex that like sweetest thing I really wished that I could have loved him as much as
You told me about this one,
and
yeah.
like I wish everything good on him
And
because
sometimes
he deserves it.
that's the case is like
Yeah.
I just don't feel that way about you.
Don't. And then I kind of got hit with that.
But
it all comes back.
But it's a good thing that you recognize that,
Oh
though.
yeah. I mean, it's I tried my hardest, but I only wasted a few months
of both of your time.
Yeah, I tried.
Give it that good old college try.
Well, and it's so funny because like we were dating one time when my dad had come to visit Colorado, and so like obviously he met my dad and I think Andy, my stepmom. But my dad straight up looked him in the face and said,
"She's going to break your heart." No,
you're laughing, but like basically he said, you can't give her every single thing she wants and say yes to everything. She will get bored.
She will walk all over it.
That was in, I think, December, and I broke up with him in January. But again,
sometimes
sweetest boy, sweetest man. He was so good to me, and I tried so hard.
I'm probably going to cut out everything I talked about my ex about just because I don't want it to become a thing. But
yeah.
I just don't I don't want this. I definitely
think I can talk anything because I know none of my exes will be watching this.
The thing is that like it's just because he's a public figure. And I don't want this to become a problem of any kind. And hopefully
you haven't said anything bad.
I don't know. It's something that I'm like
I'll probably it's obviously keep it up to you, but like
no, I'll probably keep it in. And honestly, like
I don't really
at this point, like
I think it's also because I don't care to be friends with my exes.
That's true.
Like I even have the main one, like we have mutual friends. There's mutual friends that I know he and his new girlfriend. I shouldn't say new girlfriend, they've been dating forever. But his girlfriend like are very close with, and I talk to every day because we have like a Snapchat group. And I love them. And I will always be friends with them. So like I know there's probably going to be times where I see
it's also
the lovely
weird.
couple.
I'm friends with like siblings exes.
Like your sister's exes?
No, like I'm friends with my brother's my brother's ex-girlfriend and my other brother's ex-wife. Like I wouldn't say friends like to the point where we like reach out all the time and talk all the time, but like we still like we follow each other on Facebook, so we kind of see like how everyone's doing.
My sister's ex follows me, and I did see him in October because we do like one of her exes. We all went to Austin City Limits the first time I ever went like together, and then he lived one of his friends like lived in Denver, so like we have our own friendship outside of that.
Yeah.
So I did see him, and like he's always like, "Oh, I just miss you," blah blah blah. And like, I'm like, well, you don't see me. It's all because of you. And like at one point, I forget what he like brought up, but he said something, and maybe he said something about my sister. But we were all like in a circle sitting, waiting for like the next person that we were gonna see. And I did make a comment like, yeah, it's so strange that she wouldn't want to see you. It's like so weird.
So weird. Bizarre.
And everybody like knows because they've all been around forever. So they all just kind of laugh. And the one friend that we're both friends, he's like looking at me dying. Because he's like, I know that you're going to say something.
Yeah.
He's going to be stupid and say something. Yeah. And then you're going to say something in response and make him uncomfortable. But he's an idiot. I also learned new things that my sister purposely didn't tell me about their relationship. And if I
had known then, things would have been different.
Like, and I probably will, because if I ever go to Austin City Limits again, I'll go say hi to my friends. And I'll tell if he tries to come up to me, I'll be like, my sister has filled me in on everything. Things that she didn't tell me because she thought I would go to jail if I knew. So
we'll just leave it at that.
5 steps back from me.
Bibbity bobbity back the fuck up.
Before I punch you in the face. Rightfully deserved. Just kidding. Violence is never the answer.
Only sometimes with Nazis. We said that in the very first episode.
Well, I only say that so I don't get in trouble because I do believe that sometimes violence is the answer.
Well, now I'm going to have to cut that out.
This is the thing, though. Sometimes I do smack people. Not like in the face, but like in the chest. Because they say some stupid things that are offensive. And I warn people, though, if you're going to say something offensive, don't say it in arm's length. I'm not hitting them hard. It's like a... That's not hard, but I do have long arms. So people think they're out of reach, and they're not. And that's their fault. It's not mine. Nothing is ever my fault.
Not at all. Now that we've had a 15 to 20 minute conversation, aside from the book, I think this is a good spot to
just get to be
call
our
it.
friends.
Yeah. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
Fostering friendships, talking about real life situations, as well as talking about a book.
Yeah.
Keep it all together. As you can see, I didn't bring the chairs this time. It was just easier for us to set up this way. If the chairs are not here, you will definitely see the microphones though, because they're good for props.
These were perfect.
These were a perfect idea.
I want to put one I have extra, so I want to put one in my car.
Yeah.
I want to kind of, I'm going to Hosier.
Bring it with you.
I want to, but then I'm like, I'm also going by myself. So like, I'm already going to stand out being by myself.
Let it go.
Because it's not even like you're going to see, it's the amphitheater. So like, I'm just going to be my blanket and just me.
Oh man.
But I'm going to bring a book because I'm reading this one, but then I'm also reading, my sister last year got me Howl's Moving Castle.
Oh, that's such a good movie.
Yes, but I didn't even know it was a book until she got me the book. And it's definitely like, obviously there's differences in it, but we have Calcifer, one of our matching tattoos. So that's my other book that I'm reading. So I'm like, I can't read two like smut fantasies
back to back. We'll start blending the lines.
It's not even like back to back. It's in tandem that I'm reading.
Start blurring the lines.
Yeah, and so I've like picked a couple for the next, like after I read Howl's, I want to read Wicked because I've never read the book Wicked. I've gone to the...
You should save that for this. Because I
want to read it before the movie, and the movie comes out in November, and we're not going to finish the whole series before November.
I don't know. It took us less than a month to finish this book.
Okay, but there's how many books? And November is literally in 2 months. It's September.
If you could read more than 100 chapters or 100 pages.
Look. I probably could, but I just would sleep.
Wicked is one of my favorite books, though. Yeah. I have read it. It's one of my favorites.
When I finish Howl's, I'm just going to read that. So I have
Son of a Witch, which is the sequel to it, is also very, very good.
So yeah, I'm going to read that as my next one. And then I have an Audrey Hepburn book I want to read.
You're just the handsomest. You really are. No, we're not throwing it. You are winding down for the night.
He said,
Well, thank you for joining us on this episode of chapters 19 through 30 and a little bit of our lives. Join us next week as we finish A Court of Thorns and Roses, chapters 31 through 42. Next week, we will be filming at Kelsey's house, and she will be cooking. I don't know what yet. I was going to say you should make something that's like nostalgic, maybe.
Oh, well, I think it will depend on the weather. What day we choose, the weather, because like I have a whole Pinterest board of things that I want to like try.
Perfect.
Or just things that I want to cook. Like I have gyros on there because I just love gyros. Do you like gyros? No. Okay.
I'm not saying no. I don't love lamb a lot.
Oh.
So if you did it with like chicken or beef, I'd be fine.
I love lamb.
Brandon my roommate just bought some like gyro meat that had both lamb and beef in it, and it smelled really good.
Was it from Trader Joe's?
No, it was from Costco.
Oh.
Yeah.
Love Costco.
Yeah.
Love Trader Joe's.
Love Trader Joe's. Love it. Love Trader Joe's. You did not get that on the floor. You put it in a chair.
Well, it'll keep him entertained for a minute.
As always, like, follow, share, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your mamas, tell your dads, tell your brothers.
You never know. Brothers.
Hey, you never know.
Well,
save some for the rest of us.
I was like, unless they're gay, I feel like we don't really need the straight men on here. No offense to the straight men, but
we're not We're not doing that.
I'm always doing that.
We're not alienating anybody except for rude and unkind people from our group. We can't get rid of an entire demographic just because most of them are terrible.
We're not gonna do that, and I'm gonna say most of them are terrible. I feel like the
Weren't we
straight
having
men
this
wouldn't
conversation?
want to.
I just want to be clear, we are being hypocrites.
That's not true because
we said this
our
in the last
tattoo artist is
episode
great, and he
about
loves this book. I don't know why I said our. Mine and my
I was
sister's.
like, who's
Our
our?
by me and my sister, Oliver. Shout
we
out
had
to you.
a conversation in the last book about humans tend to say that the one are the many. We should not be then doing it ourselves.
Okay, but I won't even.
We're gonna
say
leave
my
it there.
comment.
Thanks again for watching, and thanks for joining BK Book Club.
We love you guys.
Have a good night.